Hi everyone. This is Junior Grao here for one more N2N Talks. So today I'm receiving this person. She's an amazing professional, amazing executive, and an awesome person. So Robin Hayden, thanks for joining. So she's a former Disney technology executive and certified executive coach with more than 35 years of experience across corporate, government, nonprofits, and entertainment industry. Wow. And she's a specialist in helping senior leaders to navigate complexity, strengthen strategic decision making, and elevate their leadership impact. So she's the owner of the 360 Elevate Executive Coaching company. And today we are here, to talk more about that. So thank you again for coming and welcome, Robin.
Well, thank you so much, Junior, and thank you for that kind and wonderful introduction. I am very excited to participate in this conversation with you and just to share all about my background and any other topic we want to touch on.
Yeah, thank you. So, before we started our AI discussions and anything related, I want to know a little bit about you. So, for example, when when did you start in this technology world, and what was your real motivation for doing that? Tell me a little bit about your story.
Yeah, so, in high school,
Mm-hmm.
I just had an affinity for mathematics, and I
Mm-hmm.
did very well in mathematics. And so I
Mm-hmm.
actually got a mathematics scholarship to attend college. And when I went off and started off in my mathematics studies, one of the expectations was to take computer classes. So, of course, back then I started off with a basic class, and it was just such a natural knack for me. I loved it. I loved
Mm-hmm.
that I could create software and do all of these cool things at that time and have people use something to help them be more productive. And as I took more computer-based electives, I realized this is what I want. Although I loved mathematics, when I thought about it, I was like, well, what am I really going to do with a mathematics degree? But when I thought about the new vast world of technology that was emerging, I was very attracted to it. And I could just see all the possibilities, mostly to be creative and to build and to help people do better, with their professions and what they needed as tools, in the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, at that time, I changed my major to what was called management information systems, and then later became information decision sciences. And then there you have it. That's what got me started.
Very nice, very nice. So, I want to know a little bit about your journey in the tech. So tell me your earlier days. How that happened? When was your first opportunity in the tech?
Well, my first opportunity was in Washington, D.C. for the Department of Justice, which was really cool. And, I got an opportunity to develop in-house applications using COBOL. That was that
Mm,
common business oriented language. And oddly enough, all those years ago, I'm
no
hearing
interfaces,
this.
only
Yes.
command line. Like today
Yes.
in AI world.
Yeah. And believe it or not, some government sectors still have COBOL-based applications. It's amazing. And, I continued along, with the federal government, with different agencies as I networked and got to know more people. I worked at the Pentagon, Department of State, and also Department of Treasury, building
Wow.
various applications, even for the military. So it was interesting. And then I was able to expand to other types of, companies like nonprofit organizations, and of course, hospitality and entertainment when you think about the software systems at Disney. And, it helped me in so many ways with, I would say, all kinds of professions within the tech industry. I was a computer programmer. I was a database administrator, a system administrator. And then I got onto the softer side of technology where I became a business analyst, a project manager, you name it, program manager. And then I got into leadership. And I've just been able to experience that tech journey through all the evolutions. Like I mentioned, COBOL, Fortran, RPG. And then we get into those third and fourth generation languages like Oracle and SQL. And
Mm-hmm.
then it kept evolving from that point all the way up to where we are now, up to my time at Disney. So it's been a fascinating journey. And I just have a natural, I describe myself as a nerd. I love it. I love learning and building and creating. So it's been an enjoyable journey.
Very good. And when that happened, this transition between when you were a software developer to a manager or managing people, when that happened?
Well, I would say in all of the companies and industries that I've worked in over the years, I've been fortunate to work on, I would say, some very high profile projects that
Mm-hmm.
really gave me opportunity to showcase my skills. And I'm a lifelong learner, and I'm curious. And I don't mind, I would say, going where no man has ever been before. Let's step out there and let's create. And it helped me to step into opportunities to lead. Even if I was a lead person,
Mm-hmm.
like a lead analyst or a lead programmer, but I would say the last two jobs that I had, even before Disney, I was offered positions to be like a manager over a team. And then, of course, at Disney, with all the years at Disney, over close to 23 years at Disney, I progressed from many of those roles. When I first started at Disney, I started off as a business analyst, and
Mm-hmm.
then I kept getting promoted all the way up to the executive level. And it's just been amazing being on that tech track,
Mm-hmm.
seeing all the opportunities. And what makes it great is when you see something that you're interested in, showing your interest by doing. It's more
Mm-hmm.
than asking for it. Is slowly demonstrating that you're ready for that next thing. So whenever I had that moment, I would raise my hand for that stretch opportunity, and it opened doors for me.
Oh, very, very good. So, directing people in a huge corporation is not easy, right? And you don't have to, but if you want to tell me a story that today you have fun of that, but in that moment it was something very hard to handle, and everywhere you worked before. So, and do you have any story in your mind about that?
Well, as you know, it's not. Um, I'm not in a position to go in detail of very specific
For
projects,
sure.
but situations, yes. You think about the Walt Disney Company. It,
Mhm.
it, it is a huge media conglomerate
Mhm.
worldwide.
Oh yeah.
And the systems and the projects are complex and
Mhm.
complicated.
Mhm.
And you're working with global teams even. So you even have the complexity of time zones and languages and things like that. And coming together in that dynamic way had its challenges, but was very exciting at the same time. And then, Disney is constantly looking to be on the forefront, to be ahead. So it's having that future mindset,
Mhm.
always being ready to step into what's new and not letting it, take you into such a place of discomfort where, you kind of diminish yourself, but it's looking to learn, to get involved, and knowing that we're all in it together. And
Mhm.
so that takes me to what the most enjoyable part for me was actually leading the teams in building a team culture,
Mhm.
fostering an environment of learning, supporting growth opportunities and camaraderie and professional growth. And when you have people that are inspired, they feel supported, it's like you want to do it. You feel like you're capable of doing anything. And quite often we were stepping into what seemed like impossible,
Mm-hmm.
but we were able to achieve it.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is part of the magic, is just working together,
Mm-hmm.
supporting one another, even in very complex situation. And it doesn't mean that we didn't have our moments where, it got very challenging or difficult, or even, you had your moments where people may have just not felt so great about things.
Mm-hmm.
But the important thing is to keep stepping forward, knowing we're all in it together, and having a leader or being that leader to be there for your team and support them.
That's great. So I want to introduce it a little bit about the main subject that we want to talk here. So and we are seeing a lot of changes, and we saw a lot of changes in the past, right? The transition
Right.
of technologies, TV, computer, transition of where the data is stored, and today we have this new era of artificial intelligence.
Yes.
So, how do you see um, this new era of AI? Let's start speaking about that. How your vision about your new AI era?
So, given all of my experiences with technology, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I've always seen it as a benefit. And I know a lot of people get uncomfortable. And I've heard it with all the transformations of technology over the year. It's ages old where people have felt threatened that
Mm-hmm.
technology was going to place their jobs, but actually it's created new jobs, and
Mm-hmm.
people has, you have to transform with it.
Yeah.
Um, so I embrace AI as a tool, an enabler, actually, to scale, efficiencies across various disciplines, if you will, to improve, in industries like healthcare. You see so many benefits, scientific discovery, just overall human productivity. And of course, it needs oversight. I mean, it needs oversight to ensure security, that it's used responsibly and ethically. We just heard about OpenAI and the rogue agent
Mm-hmm.
that got out of the sandbox and hacked the startup. It's those type of things that with any technology or new innovation, you always have to have that oversight and security. It's crucial.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel good about AI, and I know it's a very polarized topic. People they either hate it, they're afraid of it, and some are like, bring it on. I'm excited. And I think I'm more excited. I'm not overexcited, but there's a
Uh-huh.
balance there.
That's good. I think we have the same mindset about that.
Yeah.
And speaking about, okay, AI is good, but let's talk about the pace of the change because in the past, you led the IT and digital transformation for a large corporation at Disney for a long time. And looking back in the past, major tech transition used to take years to really sink in, right?
That's true.
And today is different. Like you have an idea, you go somewhere in these AI tools, and then you have promoted at least the MVP of your idea, so you can continue improving that. But the things are changing so fast. So how do
Yeah.
you see this?
Well, you're right. It's rapid change, it's rapid innovation, and the pace of technology is much faster than it was years in past. I mean, AI appeared on the scenes in the 1950s. It was
Hmm.
meant to be a research tool
Yeah.
and to simulate human thinking, when you
Hmm.
think about the outcomes of the research, and it was used by a college. And it's had a transformational impact ever since as it keeps evolving. So now it's just more in the front.
Hmm.
And like you said, it used to be a slow, transition, and it was years and then maybe yearly. and then once a quarter, now once a month, and oh my goodness, now it's like it's one thing at the start of the day, and then by the end of the day, you're hearing something else new.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just having this mindset of, first of all, thinking how technology that was once unimaginable at one time. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I go all the way back to a landline.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not even talking about, the I think it was the cordless phones that emerged at one time. All of it was fascinating. You're like, wow, I don't have to be attached to the wall to talk to somebody. And now we have our cell phones.
Yeah.
And so it's just taking these new inventions as something that's improving our lives. It's enabling us to do more, to be better. But the most important thing, again, is to use it ethically, as a thought partner,
Mm-hmm.
and not to replace yourself in your
Mm-hmm.
natural talents and abilities. And I always say it's artificial intelligence, but we don't want to get to a point of artificial human. We want to use it as a tool, not be afraid of it, but to continue to learn, be knowledgeable and relevant with our skill sets, and to be impactful with how we use new innovation and technology.
Exactly. And speaking about what you are saying right now, the next topic I have here is the productivity versus the human connection.
Yeah.
So, most people use AI now to speed up daily tasks, like writing emails or summarizing meetings. And but where is the line between using AI to be more productive or and accidentally losing that authenticity? Because like I see, I follow you in the internet, so I see how you write, and I follow you because I like the way you write the things. But as far as we are using more and more and more these tools, I think we are like in a copy of a copy, copy over copy. At some point you are losing some meanings between the original and the last version of that script that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So, this human connection somehow is can be lost for in your opinion in this process
Yeah.
if you don't take precaution about that.
Yes, I 100% agree. So, in my mind, the key is not to allow AI to replace human creativity,
Mhm.
and interaction. While AI can enhance efficiency, it should not diminish interpersonal relationships and emotional engagement in the workplace. Like you said, we need that human to human interaction. you know, Human emotions, intuition, and personal, uh, I would say, connections, these abilities that are unique to individuals. Just like even how to react in a moment of silence. It's a very different feeling when you're communicating with a human, you're interacting with a human, and you can sense the cues. You can sense that there's something a little different about a person that impacts how you interpret what they're saying, and the meaning of the conversation, which no artificial tool can do
Mhm.
on the level of a human. And then I say draw a line with decision making. It should not be abandoned to AI. AI should not make important life changing decisions. It's even being mindful of how you use an AI prompt.
Mhm.
I don't think you should go in and say, should I, to AI.
Yeah.
To use it to gather information, to inform you, to help you make an important decision is one thing. But we need to know what should be AI and what should be human.
Mhm.
It's one thing to know what AI can do, but you need to ask the question, should it? So it's important to strike that balance, between using AI as a productivity tool and what is human and what it means for us to be in a state of well-being as humans. Because, technology, if you rely on it too much, you aren't involved. You're not using your talents, your skills, and it can take you to this point of isolation, which isn't healthy.
Yeah, I agree. And I see you like to keep these human connections, even if you, probably in your work when you are coaching and in your
Yes.
mentorship. So this is about my next question. So speaking about AI and the leadership development. So in your coaching and mentorship work with leaders, so what has been the biggest challenge for senior executives when they try to introduce or bring up AI into their team's daily workflow? So how do you see this, and how do you work in this subject?
Yes, and you're right. It is a big challenge for many executives and companies.
All right.
And and I would say one of the biggest ones I've seen is AI adoption.
Yeah.
And clearly defining AI strategies,
Mhm.
to produce desired business outcomes is like, many people don't even know where to begin,
Mhm.
and how to define what AI is for them and understand all the aspects and dimensions of AI. What do I really need from it and exactly what? Because it's multifaceted. And then it gets into managing, skill development with how to use it, developing your teams, increasing their knowledge around it and meeting those business objectives once you understand the what. And then knowing how to integrate AI tools into workflows and things
Mhm.
like that. And I would say, in terms of determining what your culture is going to be, your work culture, to develop that comfort level so that it's a smooth operation as you begin to integrate these AI tools and ensure that the changes are for the better. Not using AI just because it's the thing now, it's the trend. I gotta get it in and do something, but just make sure it makes sense and it is profitable, and then it gets even more complicated. So, it's a big, I would say, responsibility for leaders to think about all of these things, and then, expanding this to managing the risk, kind of like what happened with OpenAI,
Mhm.
and the governance to deliver reliable results and make sure that your systems are secure.
Mhm.
And then it's more than saying, well, let's get some AI going. You have to teach it, you have to configure it. So it's understanding who do you need in this with you. You got to have the right partners, you've got to have the right talent on board, and you got to skill up people
Mhm.
and make sure everyone is aligned and on the same page with what it is, how you're going to use it, and even the why around it. Why is it important for us to use it this way with who we are and what we do? So I look at it as a continuous cycle of learning, testing, monitoring, and adjusting to ensure you have the right outcomes.
I agree. And switch a little bit the gears here, but it's still in the same context. Speaking about the new customer experience, this is also
Yeah,
changing today. So Disney, Netflix, other big techs like that, they are the gold standard of for customer experience. So they are, using AI today, they are shaping the way how we are consuming, how we are creating our habits, right?
right.
And do you think this is becoming the feeling more colder, or this is the opposite? Like, no, they are AI will helping us to guiding to have new good habits, more personalized habits that will somehow will beneficial for everyone. How do you see this?
Well, it has a lot to do with with your strategy with using
Mhm.
AI, because AI can analyze customer data to tailor interactions and enhance customer satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
How it can be used to increase efficiency, serve customers very uniquely, provide that around the clock support. And it goes on, but it's important for the, business owners, leaders to train these agents to simulate the business culture, and even to recognize when human engagement is needed to bring that balance, keep it from being cold. And a good
Mm-hmm.
example, I recently was on a customer service page for a business and I was interacting with a chat box.
Mm-hmm.
And as I asked questions, it was just giving me these template responses. It wasn't directly meeting the needs that I was asking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally said, "This isn't helpful." That's all I said.
Okay.
And the response from the chat bot was like, "I'm sorry, I will connect you with a live agent." And I'm like, that
Okay.
was very good.
Interesting.
And then the next thing I know, I was interacting with a live agent. So that's important, and not all of these engines, if you will, are designed that way. So it has a lot to do with what you put into it, to maintain those high quality standards.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to plan and like I said, previously, make sure you're training your teams, bringing in the right partners to help you to deliver the right AI solutions to align with your brand, and maintain that level of high quality customer satisfaction.
Very good. I will ask you about if you recently you have tested some AI tools, but personal AI tools like whatever it is. You explain exactly one scenario where AI tools was helping in your tool that you are using, but um, more in terms of your work. Tell me one AI that you used recently and helped you somehow a lot.
Well, my favorites are Chat GPT and Copilot. And I like Copilot because I have the Office 365 tool suite
Mhm.
and it integrates with all of those apps. I mean,
Mhm.
when I first started playing with it, I was very impressed. How I asked a question and it found answers to my question, in my Word documents, in some of my Excel files, and so on. And it aggregated all of that information for me.
Mhm.
And, it's been my best friend since I don't have to do all of that digging and reading and going in folder after folder. And so I thought it was cool. And when I want metrics, it just knew how to pull the numbers together, both, that qualitative and quantitative. It was able to even put a story around it
Mhm.
based on what it found for me. And then Chat GPT too, more generally, but I will say, even with all the efficiency and, the improved accuracy,
Yeah.
I still check on my own. I still cross check to make sure it is accurate because sometimes,
Mhm.
it can generalize too much or it can, kind of pull together in a way where it's mixing stories and
Mhm.
it isn't giving you the facts for what you're specifically asking for.
I'm not sure if this is just you, but sometimes I have the feeling that I'm speaking more with a ChatGPT or Copilot than my wife.
Yeah, it does. It becomes like your buddy. And it's a good, that's a good thing to bring up
Uh-huh.
because you have to realize it's not human and
Mhm.
nothing replaces the human. Yes, it's very
Yeah.
helpful, but it's something that you can easily just get it, on this path where every day, all throughout the day, you're engaging with it. It's very easy to do. It's so helpful that way. But I do find, just like right now, you and I are conversing.
Mhm.
This is really what energizes me and heightens my ability and broadens my thinking, and on new levels. So that's always very important to keep in mind.
Very nice. So, speaking about the overcoming the fear of being replaced that we speaking in the beginning, if you could have
Yes.
one practical advice for someone that is starting using this kind of technology, uh, what kind of advice would you like to give?
Well, there's very polarized views and feelings. Some
Mm-hmm.
people really hate it. And I've heard people, they don't want
Yeah.
to hear anything. And then even when you go on the social sites out there,
Yeah.
social platforms, people have, they'll come right out and say, I hate AI. And then
Mm-hmm.
some people are fearful. And then some are very excited. Like I love to go and play with new things. And like you
Mm-hmm.
and I were just talking about, with
Mm-hmm.
Chat GPT and Copilot. Oh, wow, my friend. But the important thing to keep in mind is, yes, the world is on a course of rapid innovation and rapid change. The best thing that I always remind people, just like it's always been,
Mm-hmm.
one time there weren't cars, and before there were cars, people were bicycling around or riding horses and buggies, but they had to learn how to drive a car because
Yeah.
you still wouldn't be in a horse and buggy today. That just wouldn't work. So the same thing with this evolving technology. You need to apply the same principles of changing and growing to yourself personally. Keep growing, keep evolving your skill sets. Most people underestimate their skills and abilities. I always tell people there are multiple versions of you.
Mm-hmm.
You have things about yourself that you don't realize until something just gives you this thought, hey, wait a minute, I want to try that. And then all of a sudden, as you explore it and you start to discover things about yourself that you realize you weren't capable of doing. So I always tell people self-reflect,
Mm-hmm.
self-assess yourself often, develop and grow and tap into your skills, because new opportunities and professions are always on the horizon as things evolve. And look at these things and let it spark your interest to learn more and maybe take a course or something like that. And I'd say flip the narrative
Mm-hmm.
to appreciate how the use of AI can elevate your mastery. See it as that tool, not to replace you, but to help you evolve and grow and, be that thought partner for you and to assist or aid your talents.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And change the gears a little bit here again, and speaking about the next emerging tech. So I would like to know from you, and looking for the near future.
Yes.
And I mean, beyond the chatbots, the text assistants, and what emerging techs tied to AI do you really think will impacting our daily routines? But this is something that we are not paying attention too much.
Yeah. I would say AI super agents.
Mm,
I'm hearing that more and more each day.
mm-hmm,
And, having these agents function as your personal assistant, enhancing your skill sets, working 24/7 on your behalf.
mm-hmm,
You are still, overseeing, you are still driving, but you're using it to enhance what you do to increase your productivity and optimize the results. And just finding ways to integrate these concepts, this technology into both business and personal workflows. Use them personally, like you and I said. You can
mm-hmm,
use them all day long because the cool thing about them, it can remember what I forget or what I leave out. It learns from me and it evolves based on my activities and patterns. And, it almost helps you become like this bionic super being. It's enhancing your capacity and capabilities. And the thing is, the more you use it, the more familiar you become with it, the more it becomes like, the day-to-day new norm in life. So it's just learning about it and starting to use it. Play with it first. It's that crawl, walk, run approach where the next thing you know, it's just an easy thing that you're doing naturally, like using your cell phone every day.
Very good, very good. Now we are going to the end of this discussion, and I want to introduce a new moment here. It will be the time capsule. So that will be a message that will be, like 20 years message in the future. That will be stay closed for 20 years. So we will just open 2046. So look at your journey in IT and how we are shaping tomorrow with this AI right now. So what the message do you want to leave, from the new generation of professionals that you open this capsule?
Well, I would start off by sharing my life's milestones and personal experiences with technology, just to give that little history of where it's come from in my lifetime and how, it just continues to have this transformational impact
Mm-hmm.
and the impacts it's even had on me personally. And I would encourage the leader to, or the reader, to continue to, on the journey, to continue to learn and, you know, practice, use new technology and innovation, but use it to make the world a better place.
Mm-hmm.
Think of how to use it to make life better. And always start with their skills, their talents, their creativity, and use it responsibly and ethically. Don't let it just be on its own. Like I said, don't abandon all the decisions and the workings of technology to itself, but let that person be the one in control and in charge. And to always dream and think ahead. And then, yes, of course, I would end with a little silly joke or story, just for giggles, to remind them that no matter what where you are, always remember to enjoy life and be the best that you can be, because it starts with you as the individual. Nothing replaces you.
That's beautiful. So now we are going to the final segment here, and I want to introduce another game here. Will be like a rapid fire ping pong, one word questions and
Okay.
answers. So I wanna, quick lightning. This I wanna say some word or phrase, and you tell me the very first word that comes in your mind. So, for example, the first question is AI in our daily routine. What's the first
Assi-
word or phrase comes in your mind?
Assist. I mean, it's my assistant, and it's not replacing anything that I do. It's I'm the one that's doing it, but I'm using it, for fact gathering, for information, and to be there like a thought partner.
Leadership.
Servant. I believe in servant leadership. You need to prioritize serving and developing others, build and lead others to achieve. And this way, I just see it as that's what helps us all win together.
Sweet. And the future of work.
Creativity. It all starts with, I mean, AI is here because of creative people. We have innovation and new technologies because of a future-minded person who had a vision.
One real fear about tech you have.
Insecurity.
Hmm.
Um, most people are feeling insecure about where technology is going, where it's going to lead, and, it becoming something that will take over their lives.
One big opportunity.
Learn. I believe learn is the overarching, piece to growth and development and even confidence. Just being knowledgeable and comfortable because you have understanding.
I agree. And two more. Disney.
Dream. I always saw the quote from Walt Disney himself: if you can dream it, you can do it. So, my experience at Disney was always about having a vision. And that vision is what led to building a strategy and then a plan. And the next thing you know, you're building and implementing.
And finally, Robin Hayden by herself.
Journey. I see life as a journey of relationships, learning, growing, overcoming obstacles, and celebrating progress.
Hmm.
You just have to, even when life gets complicating and difficult, it gives you this opportunity to strengthen and to connect with others and discover more about yourself and how you can, I would say, grow past it, step over it, and lift up. We all have our moments of disappointment,
Hmm.
but as you continue to step forward, you can look back and say, wow, I was stronger than I thought. And it actually led to something new for me because of what I learned from the experience. So as I discover new things about myself, I have now a deeper appreciation of my journey.
So thank you so much. This is was the end. I told you it will be not something very difficult. I wanna have this podcast like we had a conversation in a bar, something more
Yes,
informal, nothing so technical. And I love it to have this conversation with you today. If you wanna have some time to leave your contact and how people can access you and contact you for your
yes,
service, feel free.
I will do. Well, thank you, Junior. I've really enjoyed. And as you know, if you have any other questions for me or if there's anything else that I can share, I am more than happy to do so.
Okay. Thank you so much. And was one more N2N Talks. So thank you guys. And I love this conversation, and I hope we can continue this initiative with a beautiful conversation like that we had today. And I hope we can see together in the next time. See you soon, guys. Bye bye. Take care. Take care,
Bye
Robin.
bye. You too. Bye bye.